I'm not a fan of New Year's resolutions, particularly videos about them, because most of the time they're made just to attract more views. The demand is incredibly high, so people rush to meet it. It's similar to calendars on January 1st. Everyone suddenly needs a new one, the demand spikes, and then it flattens out for the rest of the year. After that, people begin jotting down their goals for 2024 or whatever the current year is. But the reality is, over 90% of people, I believe the statistic is 94%, don't actually follow through. Achieving their goals, and this really highlights that goals themselves aren't unique. Take the Olympics, for example. Every athlete shares the same goal, to win. But only one person takes home the gold medal, while the rest fall short. So, if both winners and losers have the same goal, it's clear that the goal itself isn't what sets them apart. So, what does? In essence, losers fixate on the goal, while winners concentrate on the actions that lead to it. This idea connects to identity, which is quite fascinating. Consider this. When we describe someone as disciplined, what do we really mean? What we actually mean when we say someone is disciplined is that they consistently do things that reflect discipline. For example, when we look at someone and think, that person is disciplined, what we're really observing is that they wake up early, go to the gym, and follow through on tasks they may not feel like doing, but do anyway. We bundle all these actions together and label the person as disciplined. Similarly, when we describe someone as charismatic, it's because they smile more than others, maintain strong eye contact, have confident body language, and radiate warmth. He has a strong presence, is more attractive than most, and uses your name during conversation. All these small actions add up, and we simply say, yep, he's charismatic. So, being something, whether it's disciplined or charismatic, is closely linked to actions. If the disciplined person stopped doing those things, they would no longer be considered disciplined. In this way, being is synonymous with doing, and vice versa. What I'm driving at is that, instead of just setting goals, which you can still do, I think you should still set goals, but recognize that it's just the first step. Everyone is doing it. We want to aim higher, right? So, rather than simply setting goals or asking, what do I want? Logically, consider asking, who do I want to become? Focus on the person you aspire to be. You can use a simple phrase, what would name do? For example, when I'm feeling lazy, I ask, what would David Goggins do? And if you consistently act like the person you admire, over time you'll embody those traits. Over time, whether it's days or months, you'd gradually become more like that person. Because again, doing is synonymous with being. I love the quote, every action you take is a vote for the person you want to become. So, if you want to be more like the person you admire, keep casting votes in that direction with your actions, and eventually your identity will shift from where you are now to where you want to be. Another point is that this shows you already know what to do. You didn't need to wait until January 1st to start. The real issue isn't figuring out what to do, but understanding why we avoid doing it. In most cases, we don't lack information. We need reminders. This question is such a powerful reminder. Start asking yourself this: what would the person I admire do? The beauty of this approach is that it's flexible. You can adapt it to any goal. Want to be a top student? Ask, what would an A-grade student do? Want to build a business? Ask, what would a billionaire who lost it all do? Want to get fit? Ask, what would someone with a six-pack do? You can even turn it inward. What would a version of myself who is 10 times smarter or 10 times more disciplined do? If you keep asking yourself what a wise version of yourself would do and take action accordingly, within a few months you'd probably find yourself in a much better place than if you hadn't. Isn't it crazy that no wise mentor actually enters your life? It's just you giving yourself advice, almost like being your own life coach. If you choose to follow this approach, here's what will happen. For the first 6 months, maybe even a year, you might not see any significant change. You're here, but you want your identity to evolve to there, and that shift takes time. There's a transition period where you're consistently making choices in the right direction, but your identity hasn't caught up yet. For example, let's say you're an average student aiming to become an A-grade student. You'll be doing what top students do, studying diligently, sleeping well, exercising to keep your mind sharp. But for a while, you'll still feel like the old you. Then, after months of effort, when you finally get that exam paper back with an A or a perfect score, that's when your identity updates. At first, it feels unnatural because you haven't become that person yet, but eventually, you will. I'm not saying you shouldn't have a to-do list, but the reality is everyone already knows the list. You've seen those videos titled something like, "How to be more attractive for guys, no BS guide," with a thumbnail showing a Pinterest-looking model that clearly isn't the person who made the video. The advice is always the same: go to the gym, have a skincare routine, dress well, make money, cultivate good hobbies. The thing is, you already knew that. No one watches those videos and has a revelation like, "Oh wow, going to the gym will make me more attractive. I had no idea." Or, "Wait, good skin is better than acne. Who knew?" People already know these things. You're not watching to learn something new. You're watching to feel productive. So, again, rarely do we need more information. We usually just need reminders. We live in an era of constant information overload, where solutions to almost any problem are just a search away. The truth is, most of us already know what to do. The issue is that we don't act on it. If you truly don't know what to do, just ask ChatGPT or seek out resources, but recognize that the key often lies not in discovering something new, but in reinforcing what we already understand at our core. Instead of thinking, "I need to do these things," shift your mindset to, "I need to be this person." It's a subtle but profound difference. Don't say, "I do discipline things." Say, "I am a disciplined person." This change in perspective shapes your identity, and from that identity, actions emerge naturally. It's not about waking up with a checklist and ticking off tasks like a robot, mechanically going through the motions. A person like David Goggins doesn't wake up and run 5 kilometers just to check it off his habit tracker. He runs because that's who he is, because his identity compels him to act. The habits follow from the person he has become, not the other way around. The answer lies in the question itself. It's not about how to do better, it's about how to be better. Once you figure out who you want to become, the actions needed to embody that person will flow seamlessly. This is why focusing on who you want to be is so crucial. When you align your identity with the person you want to become, the how becomes easier. You stop fighting against yourself, and instead you're pulled in the direction of your goals by an intrinsic force, rather than external pressures. And when the actions follow, so do the results. The journey becomes less about forcing yourself to complete tasks, and more about naturally living in alignment with your core values and identity. I love this quote from Bill Gates. Someone asked him for words of motivation, and he simply said, "If you need words of motivation, this isn't the business for you." It's so true. Motivation that comes on January 1st and fades by January 2nd won't get you anywhere. Whatever you achieve, whether it's money, fame, or anything else, can be taken away. But what can't be taken away is the person you become. If you build the skills to be a great salesperson and lose all your money, you're still a great salesperson. If you train like a professional athlete but don't win the title, you're still a professional athlete. In the end, it's about who you become. So, who do you want to become? Think like that person. Ask yourself what they would do and do it. Cast votes for the person you aspire to be, and over time you will become that person. Take action. I believe in you. Now believe in yourself.